Well, hey folks, we're in New Hampshire. That's right, New Hampshire. We're at the Twin River Campground and Cottages. Gonna camp right here on the river at one of their sites. I'll put my hammock over there. I brought my 15-year-old brat daughter Ariane and her friend. They're gonna sleep in the back of the truck, but I'm getting ready to set up camp. We'll do some prospecting tomorrow, and the next day up the river in the National Forest, we'll have to go over to the ranger office and get a permit to do so. You can't do that online for some reason. Panning only, unfortunately, but we're still gonna have some fun. So I'm gonna set up camp and get ready to have fun, man. We're here to have some fun, and that's what we're gonna do. Oh yeah. Well, good morning. Beautiful little river, huh? This is the Wild Ammonoosuc River in New Hampshire. All right, time to get ready. We're gonna head over the mountain, get to the ranger's office, and get us a panning permit. I'll see you over there. Okay, let's go get a permit. This is the forest headquarters. Nice building. We'll go get a permit. Well, we got her. Boy, that lady in there, she was a nice lady and friendly. Very busy. I had to wait a little while. They're doing some kind of federal registration where they fingerprint people from the Fed and stuff here today. I'm not sure what it's all about, but she's so busy. Very nice lady, though. They treat you good over here. You need a panning permit, come and see them. Alright, let's get to the river. It's still raining. It wasn't supposed to rain this morning, but it is. They say it's going to stop around 10:30, which it's 10:30 right now, so we'll see, huh? The girls are in the truck. They're kind of miserable this morning. Teenage girls, you know. Alright, hopefully they don't kill me. Okay, the first spot we worked this morning didn't seem to have any. There was a beaten trail going down to it. I imagine a lot of people hit it. Two brats are right there, brat 1, brat 2. But yeah, we came to this area a few years ago. Whoops, I worked down in here and got some gold. Just did a pan from right in here. We had about 20 specks with some nice flakes mixed in. So I'm gonna do some work here. I wish I would have brought another bucket, but I didn't. But let me get another pan from here and I'll show you the gold in it. I might have to go back to the truck and get another bucket just to save the heavies. Okay, here's that pan. Got 25 pieces in there. You see them in there? And they're respectable. There's some teeny tinies in there, which I also counted under the 25, but there's some respectable pieces right there. So I think what I'm going to do is go back to the truck, get another bucket. I'll classify a bucket, bring it over here to the creek, and then, or to the river, and then yeah, I'll just pan down, save my heavies, do some speed panning, take a look once in a while, dump the heavies in a bucket, and we'll just keep trucking like that. Okay, we're back from the river. We were there for a while, but the girls got bored. But I did 4 or 5 pans here. Let me show you the gold. Not too bad, 4 or 5 pans. I did some test panning around, found one of the better areas. There's a bunch of little stuff in there the camera really isn't showing. Some of those little dots, those white looking dots are gold. It's all the way. There's 4 or 5 pieces in that blank area on the screen here. But anyway, and that piece there I pulled out of a crack on our way out. And I found this nice garnet right here. You find hundreds, if not thousands of garnets here, all little tiny ones, but that's a better one. That's a big girl there. Yep, that's a nice one. You know, it's not jewelry grade or nothing, but good size rough garnet there. Nice. Alright, we'll go back to that spot. Even if they get bored, I'll put them to work. I'll make them carry buckets and shovel and, you know, teach them how to pan better and make sure they pan better and carry the buckets. Not too bad.
Hey guys, so I'm filming. Stop! Stop getting so close. Hey guys, so here we're making marshmallows, and we got Wallace here.
Trying to look up how to.
Okay, recording. And then we got Ariana here. She's my gangster, and then Wallace is also my gangster.
Let me show you guys around. Come on.
Hey.
So we're staying here. Go get the license plate. Go.
Those crazy brats. Well, I'm back out on the river. The girls are actually sleeping in the truck. They didn't want to come down. It's boring. Actually, they're just really tired, so they're back sleeping in the truck. And yesterday, before we left, that bedrock over there, I found that chunky little piece. So today I got the metal detector with me, the old gold monster right there. And let's go over there and work some of the cracks and crevices in there and see if we can pull out any more gold. Got a little while we can spend here, and then we got to get back over to them and start our day with them. But anyway, let's get over there and see if we can find some more gold. Okay, so that piece of bedrock was spun right down against there. It was pretty tight. I was able to pry it out of there, and we got all the material, at least 99% of the material out of the crack down there. Let's see what's in our pan there. Cross your fingers, hopefully there's some gold, maybe a figure. One little tiny speck. I threw it right back to the gods. Let's move on to the next crack and find some gold. Find some gold. Okay, I tried another crack and nothing in it. And then we found this one. And this piece right here was down in here. And I pried it out because it was already loose. And we got material going back up underneath there a little bit. So let's clean that out. That looks really good. Might be able to pry this piece out. Normally I wouldn't pry bedrock up. I like to keep stuff natural, but when it's all loose like this, just a couple floods and all this is going to break right out of here anyway, so I don't mind pulling these pieces out. But anyway, let me dig this out. Cross your fingers. Cross your fingers. Alright, I was able to pull another slab of that out. You can see the sandy gravels in there though. Ooh, it's looking even better, huh? Alright, I'm going to keep digging. Got a little bit in the pan. Let's dig that completely out. And then we'll pan it out. Alright, alright. One little tiny speck out of that one. I thought there'd be more than that in there, but I gave that one back to the gods too. Let's move on to the next crack. Okay, a few more cracks later. I've worked a few. And I got down in that hole and I just keep pulling material out more and more and more. I thought that would be really good. No gold out of it, but look at the size of this garnet. That's even bigger. That's a big girl right there. That's a nice one. Some other ones. But we're not here to find garnets. We're here to find gold. So there's a few more little cracks and pockets down there I'll clean out and see what we get out of there. And then we got to go before those girls get too bored. I am really surprised the cracks we worked that we didn't get anything except for a couple little specks. After finding that chunky little bit yesterday, I thought there'd be more in here, but there might be in the right spot, maybe down where the gravels are or something. But time for me to get back to those brats, make sure they're trying to have fun, you know. Adult duties. So, all right, we're gonna get out of here. We did find some pretty big garnets though, so that's pretty cool. All right.
You want me to keep saying yours, Wallace? Here we are introducing Wallace for the 10th time. This is Wallace. Say something, guys.
Something, guys.
Stop! Paparazzi, man.
Okay, we came back up to this spot here. This is where we were in the beginning. We were getting a bunch of nice fine gold out of here. Like I said before, I worked this spot a few years ago and got some pretty good gold. It doesn't add up to a lot, but it's not too bad. So we came back here. I brought a couple more buckets this time. Classifier. We're just going to classify a bunch of material out dry, which isn't always the best, but I don't want to carry water over here again and again. And then we'll take it over there to the river and speed pan it out, dump it in our bucket, and get a bunch of cons. So let me get set up here. We'll start digging. If I see anything really cool, I'll show you. If not, maybe I'll see you over at the creek when we're panning. All right, having fun, good times, right here in the shade. This is beautiful. So what we got in this area is kind of peculiar. You got loose sands up on top, and then as you go down, dig down, it's still tan colored, but when you get down in here, it gets really hard packed. The sand is very fine grained. I can show you right here in this spot. It's very, very fine grained. It's real packy. See that? And compared to up here, it's looser and bigger material. I believe that gold is sitting right on top of that fine sand and maybe down in it a little bit. But so we're working the top. This is all slope. We work down in there, move the big stone. Now a tip to this is you don't necessarily want to work around every stone and try to dig all the stuff around one stone and like that. What you want to do is go through with your little pry bar, if you have one, and pick at all the rocks. Get the rocks out of there, and then you have a bunch of material to scoop out of there. This is too hard to be shoveling, so, and in the national forest you can only use a scoop. But anyway, so you get a bunch of material worked in, and then you scoop it instead of trying to scoop and pry around every single stone and get every little bit out of the cracks. You move those stones, expose all that material, and put it in your bucket. Now the next tip is the classifier is empty right now, but when you get a bunch of smaller stuff in there, that when it's dry but a little bit wet, it doesn't like to go down to the classifier, especially if you got a bunch of small stones. So what I do, I find a couple bigger rocks like such, angular the better, and I put them in there when I'm classifying. That helps break the stuff up, and I'll show you that in just a minute. But let me get back to digging. Okay, let me show you that classifying. Now when you shake it, usually when material is dry or wet, it'll fall right through there. See how it's kind of binding up? So I just take a few big rocks in here, like such. Now when I shake it, they'll work their way down and help break that stuff up. It don't seem like it, but already half of that is gone. It probably don't seem it because it's taking a while, but trust me, that helps. Okay, we got one bucket that's 2/3, almost 3/4 full, I'd say, probably 2/3. I'm gonna fill up another one, that way we're not wasting time by carrying just one bucket. Right? Good idea, right? Okay. One down, one to go. Oh, yeah. Wait till they see this. Okay, we came down to the campgrounds property on the wild Amanuensis. You're allowed to sluice down here. You can't up in the national forest. So, you know I love sluicing. So we came down here trying to find some ground that hasn't been hammered, man. This place has been hammered. Completely annihilated by prospectors. Well, this is my third half bucket. We were working right in there, and then first half bucket, nothing, not even a speck I didn't see. So then we moved up on that clay and found some material up on that clay, but it looks like it was worked at some time, you know, since the Hurricane Irene came through. After Hurricane Irene came through, this was replenished fairly well with some really good gold, but it's been hit over and over and over and over and over every year by everybody. So it's just been cleaned right out. I mean, you're still going to find a little bit of flood gold from the smaller floods every year, but it's just not looking that great. I'm going to finish this half bucket and then call it a day, and on our way out, maybe I'll just walk downstream a ways and have a look and use my eye holes and maybe find a spot that has never been hit, which I doubt it, but you know, there might be that little sliver here or there without digging into the bank. That's the goal. Alright, I'll finish running this bucket. Alright, I pushed that bucket through, and Did a cleanup. I only saw 7 or 8 specks as they went by. Look, fewer flakes, but just tiny stuff. Not really impressed with that spot, but like I said, it's all been hit for years and years, so let's just take a little gander down that way. I'll see you back at camp anyway. Good morning. Got the sluice set up there. I don't know, it's about 8 o'clock or so. Got up early. Started the fire. It was cold this morning. I started digging right in this spot just because nobody's dug here before. Everything else looks like it's been hammered pretty good. I got the box set upstream there just a little bit. I've already pushed half a bucket through. I see a few specks on the mat, so we're just going to continue digging in here until we got to leave today. So cross your fingers, wish us luck. Hoping for a picker, hoping for a picker. This spot doesn't look the best, but it is on an inside bend, so you never know. You never know. We're just trying to make the best of the little bit of time we got left. I got a few little flakes in there. One there, one over there, one up here. A couple little dots in there. See a couple down in the BDR. The sluice is running about perfect though, man. About perfect. It's off just a little, but she's running pretty good, man. It'll be another beautiful day. Alright, I've put, I don't know, 3, 4, or 5 buckets through there. I'm not seeing anything new, so I mean, there's a little bit of gold on there, but not what I would expect, or actually, I would expect it from that spot. Like I said, everything's been dug right to crap here. Let's get one more bucket from a different spot and just see what it does. And then it's going to be time to go back to New York. Back to New York. Okay, last bucket's in. I see a few specks in there, a few flakes. Give it just a second or two. Not too long. I want to try to save the garnets out of it, but give her just a minute to clean out on her own, and yeah, then we'll do a cleanup and see what we got. Alright. Okay, I got her all cleaned up. It's not much better than we do in New York, man. Some flakes in there and some fines. I didn't count them, but there's a bunch in there.
Hey guys,
What's good, my baddies?
so this is our first, wherever this is going, probably YouTube, but yo, the camera's gonna die. We gotta show you like the sky, you know? There's dogs over there. Shh, be careful. Yo, this is better than my phone camera.
Speaking of phone camera,
Push, you gotta take a picture, bro. That's how it's going, bro.
Okay, we've made it home from New Hampshire. Actually, a couple days later I've had to go and do some work, but we got some cons in here, all that stuff from that spot where we were getting gold and just speed panning, and you can see it's pretty red in there. Everywhere I saw garnets on the surface, I just grabbed a handful and threw it in buckets. We got a lot of cons here to go through. I'll get it all classified and run it for gold. I think we got a piece of jasper there too. Anyway, I'll run it all and get the gold out of it, and then we'll dry it and then try to separate some garnets. Garnets and gold. Okay, I got one of those buckets. Only had about that much in the bottom. I got one done. There's all the bigs. And I started the second bucket. Just classifying to this kitchen size strainer there. Look at the garnets in there. See them all? Right full of garnets. Pretty cool. Alright, it's gonna be fun, man. I love garnets and gold. Okay, we got a full pan and we're not even done classifying yet. We still got a bunch in there. So we're gonna have to run some of this over the cleanup sluice. I got her over here running. She's ready to go. She's hungry. So we're gonna feed her. We are using the vortex mat in the sluice, and I don't care for using the vortex with material from New Hampshire, because just the size of the cells in there, the voids. They're like garnets fit right down in there, and they'll clog them right up, and some of the bigger gold can float down off here. But we are looking to recover all the garnets, and we will run our tailings again, just like the Idaho tailings. We'll run all those again someday. So eventually we'll get every bit of gold if we don't catch it all now. So let me get busy running this stuff, and cross your fingers on gold. We know we have a little, but we really don't know how much we have because we did a lot of speed panning. So let's see how it turns out. Fingers crossed. That was a lot of fun up there in New Hampshire, I tell you what. I couldn't get those girls down the river really prospecting at all. They did come down a couple times and hang out a little bit, but they got bored really fast. That's just not their thing. Now, when my daughter was younger, she used to love it, but, you know, people change. Kids get older. Maybe she'll be back into it later on. But they had fun at that campground, even though that campground has become a little pricey over time. $54 a night to camp. Crazy, but you'll have that, I guess. Other than that, it's a cool place. It had a pool for them to go swim in, and a little game room with a pool table and air hockey. They really like playing that air hockey. And a little store there. We'd go up there and get some Jiffy Pop popcorn and make it on the fire. Watch the aluminum foil ball expand. Pretty cool. What they don't realize though is all the gold I get out of here, even though they didn't help me prospect, I'm going to split it between the two of them. They'll like that. I'm glad they had fun. Hopefully they want to go back sometime. I'm starting to get some gold in there. You see the yellow spots? Yeah, you can see it a little better. Up that left side especially. Alright, I'm going to keep running this, and yeah, just keep running this. Having fun. Seeing gold. Alright, it's starting to get late. I still haven't ate dinner yet. Actually, this is a work day. Tomorrow I go to West Virginia to do some work down there. We're starting to get some gold in there. And I don't know, I'm probably 2/3 of the way through that pan full. A little over half. 2/3. But I'm going to shut this off and then go make some dinner and settle down for the night. And then I'll come back out in a day, or I'll come back out when I get back from West Virginia, and we'll do this little bit of cleanup, and then I'll run some more material. But it's getting kind of late, so let's shut this off. Oh yeah. There's some decent gold in there. Not spectacular, but it's not looking too bad at all. Not too bad at all. Alright. Okay, it's the next day. I got about an hour to run some more material, so I'm going to hurry up and do that. Let's see some more gold. First, we got to clean that out because I don't want to start the water up and maybe kick some gold out of there. Even though we catch it in our safety pan, let's get it in a pan and then we'll start rerunning some more of those cons. Alright? Alright. Got 1 hour. Well, I did that cleanup on that first run, and I put it right in the snuffer bottle. I forgot to show you guys, but there was a bunch of pieces in there, a couple bigger flakes, probably 100 pieces in there, maybe a little more. Lots of really minuscule, tiny stuff, but we're still running along. We got about 45 minutes of running to go. I already see a couple little flakes in there, but we'll just keep running and having fun, man. Having fun. Okay, I got all that pushed through. I just shut it off. Let's have a look. Bunch of fine gold in there. Some bigger pieces. All the way up through. Not a ton of gold, but there's some pretty good gold in there. Alright, let's get that in a pan, have a look at it, and then I'll try to remember to show you guys. And then we'll get it all together and see what gold we got from New Hampshire. And then later on, probably not part of this video, we're going to extract all the garnets out of all this material. Alright. Okay, I'm back from West Virginia. Did some concrete work down there. But anyway, I got that last cleanup sluice run all done, all cleaned up. New Hampshire gold. Almost had to remember what I was doing here. But anyway, that doesn't look too bad. Nice little smile, huh? Alright, now let's get the other, we'll get that snuffed up and then we'll get it all in a separate pan and have a look at it. Looks pretty good though. Looks pretty good. Okay, I got all the gold together and a few of the bigger garnets that we found. Let's have a look. Let me zoom in here. My camera dirty. Now let's zoom out. There's my finger. That's a nice little pile of gold right there. Not too bad, not too bad at all. I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna weigh it because I'm gonna split it between those two girls. I'm gonna guess 0.14. 0.14. And here's some of those bigger garnets. That's a nice one right there. It's a nice garnet. Okay, I got our huge pile of gold here from New Hampshire. Scales all teared out. Let's try to get it in here without dumping it all over the place. Easy. I lost a couple pieces. Easy. Couple more. Come on. A couple pieces slid right out of there. What do we got? 0.154. Not too bad. I was close. I guess 0.14. 0.154. Not too bad. Not too bad. 0.152. Alright, I'll split this in between them.